World Series of Mahjong is the first championship tournament to offer a significant cash prize, with the top 32 players at this event sharing just under 2 million Hong Kong dollars in prize money. In addition to a cash prize, the main event champion will be awarded the coveted golden Mahjong necklace. To get here, thousands of players from around the world participated in qualifying tournaments either online or at events throughout China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan, Australia, Philippines, and North America. One of the qualifying tournaments for the main event was held in Canada at the River Rock Casino Resort in Richmond, British Columbia, near Vancouver. 64 players competed in the final qualifier at River Rock out of the hundreds that competed for the coveted 64 seats. The 3 top scorers won an all-expense-paid trip to Macau, including a free seat in the main event. Players also had the option to buy in directly to compete in what continues to be the world's largest Mahjong tournament in terms of both player participation and prize money. On day 1, 221 contestants played 4 sessions. Each player's scores from all sessions were totaled, and the 32 players with the highest match point totals received prize money and advanced into the final day rounds. In this final episode, featuring the grand final of the 2015 World Series of Mahjong main event, only 4 players remain, representing Hong Kong, Japan, Taiwan, and China. In the previous episode, we featured the 3rd final day round, the semi-final, with only 8 players remaining. The 8 players finished with the following results, leaving 4 players to proceed to the final games. Remember that not only did all 8 players walk away with a significant prize payout, in fact, all 32 top players received prize money. Taro Suzuki from Japan enters this final with a lead score of 109 points and the largest accumulated prize money so far with 175,408 Hong Kong dollars. Zhao Jian from China closely follows with a score of 80 points and 135,000 Hong Kong dollars in accumulated prize money. We now return to the main event moments before the final game, with the entrance of the top 4 players competing for the title World Series of Mahjong Champion. This is the first time that the World Series of Mahjong final has been presented before a live audience of fans, Mahjong enthusiasts, and professional players. Now, 4 players compete to share the remaining prize pool of 589,000 Hong Kong dollars, with a value per point of $589. A 40-point hand now has a score value of just over $70,000. Before the final starts, let's quickly introduce each of the 4 finalists. Up first is Peng Chonglung, a software engineer from Taiwan. This is Peng's first time competing in the World Series of Mahjong main event. Second to the stage is Lai Siu Kui from Hong Kong. Lai was a finalist from the Hong Kong qualifying events, and it is his first time competing in the World Series of Mahjong main event. Up next is Zhao Jian from China. This is also Zhao's first time competing in the World Series of Mahjong. Zhao has several competitive title wins in China to his credit, and when he's not playing Mahjong, Zhao works as a lawyer. Finally, we have Taro Suzuki from Japan. Suzuki is a professional player from Japan competing in the World Series of Mahjong tournament for the first time. But how much will the final results rest purely on the player's skills versus chance? Before we start, let's hear what 2 of the past champions from Hong Kong have to say about the game.
即係我哋打嗰陣07年啦，啲人都唔係好熟習打呢啲停牌嘅。咁但係而家咧，自從比賽咗之後咧，就啲人多打咗，尤其是後生嗰啲咧，就青出於藍。咁你打普通嗰啲麻雀咧，就係靠晒運，呢啲都係運，都係多。但運之中咧，你冇技術都幾難打㗎。
你變化多啲咯，同埋技術成分會高翻啲咯。因為你廣東牌都係死做牌嘅，咁你大陸嗰啲碰牌 得個降嘅啫，最緊要降啫，即係冇乜變化咯。即係你話好玩程度又同台牌差唔多咯，我覺得會即係會變化多啲、靈活啲咯。你熟悉嗰個牌嚟先咯，即係熟悉點樣有分先至係咯，即係熟悉你要熟悉點樣為之高分啊，盡量去做翻啲高分嘅牌咯。
This is the first time that the final game features the world top Mahjong players representing the countries of China, Hong Kong, Japan, and Taiwan on the main event table. We now start the commentary for the final game.
We're now picking up the game at third hand in the first round of the 2015 World Series of Mahjong's Grand Final. In the first two hands, Zhao Zhen from China had a win with a concealed hand. Peng Chonglong from Taiwan won once with a concealed all sequences and no terminals. You're watching the third hand. Among the four players, Peng Chonglong and Lai Xiu Kui are relatively young. They're contending in the World Series of Mahjong for the first time. This is Taru Suzuki, the champion of a Richie Mahjong contest in Japan. Okay, let's look at his hand with very few dot tiles. He always prefers to keep dragon tiles, hence discarding the 5 bamboo. Peng Chonglong has a pair of green dragons plus a white dragon. He may first discard an isolated tile in other suits. He discards the east wind. Keep drawing character tiles. Suzuki would throw 1 bamboo since he likes to keep dragon tiles. Zhao Zhen has chance towards a mixed 1 suit in dots, so he discards the isolated 1 character. His upper seat Suzuki Pong it, and then discards the 7 dot. He may be trying on a mixed 1 suit hand in characters. Zhao Zhen takes in a 6 character, forming a partial sequence with the 5 character. He wants to keep the sets for some while, thus discarding the east wind. Peng Chonglong forms a 7, 8, 9 sequence in bamboos. He would soon discard the white dragon. Indeed, he discards the white dragon. Good for Lai Xiu Kui, who collects 8 bamboo to form the eye. Suzuki may be waiting for character tiles and red or green dragons. Peng Chonglong can use his pair of green dragons as the eyes even if he can't claim a Peng with it. He has a chance to form an all sequences hand, one with 4 sequences plus an eyes pair. As per the World Series of Mahjong's rules, an all sequence may contain the eyes in honor tiles as long as it doesn't have a triplet of 3 identical tiles. Good. Suzuki claims a 2 character for a Peng, inching towards a mixed 1 suit. Luckily, Zhao Zhen draws a 3 dot. He has won several Mahjong competition in China. He and Suzuki are very experienced. Lai Xiu Kui draws a 9 bamboo. He wants to keep it since he's trying to form a 7, 8, 9, 3 similar sequences hand. That scores 35 points and is worth 60k Hong Kong dollars here in Grand Final. Suzuki draws a red dragon and discards the 8 bamboo. He's now only 1 tile from a ready hand. That would be a mixed 1 suit with 40 points. If he wins, Suzuki will earn about 70k Hong Kong dollars. Zhao Zhen draws a 7 dot, making skeleton for 9 tiles straight. It's a pattern worth 40 points with a sequence from number 1 through 9 in 1 suit. However, if he breaks a bamboo and character melts, opponent may figure out he needs dot tiles and therefore keep dots. If so, Zhao Zhen would need to draw the tiles he needs. Thinking about it for a moment, Zhao Zhen throws 2 dot, deciding not to go for the big hand pure 1 suit, which is easily detected and blocked. Peng Chonglong still can't draw neighbors to form sequence with his 2 and 6 dots, thus he decides to throw them. It seems he wants to Peng a green dragon in order to score higher. Lai Xiu Kui keeps discarding character tiles. Suzuki is waiting for a red dragon and a 4 or 8 character to have a ready hand. Zhao Zhen lacks the eyes, has yet to form bamboo and character sets. Right now, none of the 4 players calling. It's harder for Lai Xiu Kui to advance his hand as he has drawn only edge tiles.
Welcome back to the 4th World Series of Mahjong in Macau, featuring an international field of the best Mahjong players in the world competing in the grand final of the main event for the coveted title of World Champion.
Suzuki is only one tile from a ready hand while the others are 2 or more tiles away from calling. When Suzuki forms a ready hand and discards the green dragon, Peng Chunlong can claim it for a Peng. Now he collects an 8 character. If he knows that Suzuki needs a character tile, he would break the 3 and 5 partial sequence. The 8 character never appeared before. He and Suzuki are holding the tiles needed by each other. Leisuke keeps the north wind for defense. Zhao Zhen forms a sequence in 4, 5, 6 characters. He will break the 2-4 bamboo partial set. Oh, he discards the 1 dot. He made the right choice as he has the first calling hand, gap calling for a 3 bamboo. In Mahjong, an early call can lead to a faster win. It is especially wise to go for a fast win if you feel that someone else is threatening a big hand. Nothing is worse than losing to a big hand while failing at your own. It's better take the safe way out. Leisuke should discard the north wind. The only 1 tile from calling Suzuki still can't get the tile he needs. There are still 3 outstanding copies of the 3 bamboo that Zhao Zhen is calling for, and his lower seat Peng Chunlong just broke the 5 bamboo melt. He will soon discard the 3 bamboo. At the grand final, all players are very cautious. Leisuke finally draws a 7 dot, a tile he needs. Will he break the meld in 1-2 character or just discard the 6 bamboo? After consideration, he discards the 6 bamboo. Peng Chunlong chews the 2 bamboo from his upper seat. Zhao Zhen discards the 1 bamboo and then he's calling. Now there are 2 still outstanding copies of the 3 bamboo for Zhao Zhen and they are both in the wall. The opponents have no use for that tile, so they will probably throw. Leisuke draws a 5 bamboo. Suzuki may not want the 1 or 2 character. Each player has a unique way of playing the game. Leisuke places his right hand on the table like playing the piano. Suzuki drops his chin on one hand. They do so to calm their nerves. Peng Chunlong draws a 3 character which he dares not to discard. He breaks the meld of green dragons. Is he abandoning his hand? With the exposed Peng of 1 and 2 characters, he should have been more aggressive. It's very unlikely that Suzuki will claim the 3 character. Peng gives up. What a shame. Zhao Zhen also draws a 3 character. Will he opt for a defense like Peng Chunlong? Sure enough, in a grand final, everyone's on full alert. Zhao Zhen breaks the meld in 5 dots just to play safe by breaking a ready hand. Luck is with Peng Chunlong and draws the last 3 character. He's the only player calling for a 7 character. We know that there's only 1 7 character left. Well, Suzuki has finally made a calling hand, but there's a scarcity of 8 character tiles. Zhao Zhen draws a West Wind, then checks out identical tiles in the discards. He's convinced that it's safe to discard the West Wind. Now it's Peng Chunlong and Taro Suzuki calling for 7 and 8 character respectively. Suzuki draws a 3 bamboo. If Zhao Zhen didn't give up, he would win now. Oh, that's a pity. Zhao Zhen claims the 3 bamboo for a chi. Then he can discard either 2, 5, or 8 dot to be calling for a 3 or 6 character. We can see that his hand is becoming quite interesting. All the players need character tiles, which each holding the tiles craved by others. Zhao Zhen needs a 3 or 6 character and his lower seats has 2 of them each. Suzuki needs an 8 character and Peng Chunlong holds 2. Also, Lai Xiuke needs to either have 3, 5, or 8 character. Now Peng Chunlong has to make a tough choice. Will he discard 8 or 6? If it's safer to discard the 5 character he just drew, what a tough choice for him. If he doesn't want any of the other player to win on his discard, he has to stay calm. After consideration, he discards the 6 character, switching to a 2-pair call for a 3 and 8 character. Now Zhao Zhen wins on the discard. Isn't there such saying that a gap call is better than a 2-pair call? Peng Chunlong should have discarded the 5 character. In his hand, luck is with Zhao Zhen. In a situation where everyone craves for character tiles, it's amazing that he's managed to win on all sequences. Looking back, we can see Zhao Zhen opt for defense by switching from a potential 9 tiles straight to an all sequences hand, one with a balanced offensive-defensive approach, a demonstration of his superb skill. We're now at the first hand in the second round of the 2015 World Series of Mahjong Grand Final. The champion will be determined after the 16 hands of the Grand Final with 4 hands in 4 rounds. Prior to the Grand Final, Teru Suzuki from Japan accumulated the highest price of 179k Hong Kong dollars. Zhao Zhen from China ranked second with 135k Hong Kong dollars, followed by Lai Xiuke from Hong Kong with 133k, and Peng Chunlong from Taiwan with 116k. After the first round, Zhao Zhen has 3 wins and Peng Chunlong just 1, so the ranking is subject to change until the end of the tournament. Let's look at how the 4 players are doing. With 5 and 6 dots, Peng Chunlong just claimed a 7 dot for a Chi. Let's have a look at his hand. He has drawn quite good tiles after getting rid of the honor tiles. He may win it with all sequence in his hand. Zhao Zhen has 4 pairs with the hope to form an all triplet, scoring 30 points as per the rules of World Series of Mahjong. Suzuki has a chance towards an all sequences. His style might be to keep the red dragon. He picks it up but ponders to discard it. Well, his style is usually to keep it. But here his other tiles are too good to be thrown away. Peng Chunlong follows with his red dragon. In Mahjong, players generally begin by throwing honor tiles discarded previously, since there's a lower chance to find a match for them, and it's less likely to be claimed by an opponent for a Peng. An untimely match of the 8 bamboo for Zhao Zhen. Lai Xiuke has a good hand with the hope to form a 3 similar sequences hand in the 2, 3, 4 numbers. He should discard the honor tiles first. Peng Chunlong also needs to discard unmatched honor tiles. Suzuki has drawn good middle number tiles. He'll discard the 9 bamboo. Zhao Zhen would discard the white dragon. Suzuki draws a 4 bamboo. Suzuki props his chin on his hand again, and Lai Xiuke also places his right hand on the table as if he's playing the piano. All players have their subtle ways to calm their nerves. Suzuki doesn't break the 6 character pair. Instead, he discards the 4 bamboo, which can be useful together with the 5 bamboo. Lai Xiuke is waiting for useful tiles. Chunlong may form 3 similar sequences in numbers 5, 6, 7. He discards the redundant 8 character. Zhao Zhen has discarded 2 pairs in a row. In Mahjong, this kind of thing happens. Suzuki has more than 5 partial sets. It's more than enough, so he needs to break it 1. So he discards a 4 character. Zhao Zhen Peng the discarded working towards all triplets. Suzuki draws an 8 character. He's thinking about it. Will he discard the isolated 3 dot or the middle number 5 bamboo? If I was in his shoes, I would break one of the 2 pairs. Breaks a pair of 6 characters. Peng Chunlong is only 1 tile away from a ready hand. Suzuki draws in the east wind again.
We will be back with more with the World Series of Mahjong right after this break. Welcome back to the 4th World Series of Mahjong in Macau, featuring an international field of the best Mahjong players in the world competing in the grand final of the main event for the coveted title of World Champion.
Zhao Zhan draws a tile to form a pair instead of claiming the 1 dot for a chi. He draws a 5 bamboo. Will he discard 3 dot or break the pair of the 2 characters? He breaks the pair. Lower seat Lai Xiu Ko chi the 2 with his 3 and 4 characters advancing towards calling. Peng Zhenglong is only 1 tile away from calling. And discards the 7 dot. Now Suzuki is only 1 tile away from a ready hand waiting for 3 character 4 dot or 7 dot. Lai Xiuko still needs to draw a 3 dot or 3 bamboo, 2 crucial gap tiles. Zhao Zhan has yet to claim terminal tiles for a Peng. Only Peng Chonglong and Suzuki are now 1 tile away from calling. The way we look at the progress of a hand is how many tiles is needed until it's calling. Zhao Zhan claims the 1 character for a Peng. He's now also 1 tile away from calling. He can form a calling hand by getting 2 8 or 9 dot. You may wonder why we keep talking about who's calling or who should be calling, because in Mahjong the goal is to win and calling is the 1 step just before that. Earlier gives one a faster win. Suzuki is afraid that Zhao Zhan has a potential mixed 1 suit in characters, so he holds 9 character and discards the 6. We now have 3 players with 1 tile from calling except Suzuki. Peng Zhenglong draws a useless 9 dot. He will surely discard a Zhao Zhan, then Peng it, becoming the first player calling. He's now calling 2 8 dot for all triplet. He has a good chance of winning. Suzuki is 1 tile away from calling. Suzuki takes in his 3 character. After discarding 3 dot, he will be calling for 4 or 7 dot. But he ponders before throwing out this 3 dot. Lai Xiu could shoot the discard and also 1 tile away from calling hand. As a consequence, Japanese player Suzuki wins on the discard of 4 dot. A win on a concealed all sequences with 10 points. Suzuki wins total 30 points with each losing player paying him 10. This is his first win at the grand final. We're watching the 3rd hand in the 2nd round of the grand final. The player in the red shirt is Zhao Jian from China. While thinking about his move, he tends to cover his mouth with his hand. He can make a 1, 2, 3, 3 similar sequences hand, so he could discard the honor tiles first. Suzuki also discards an honor tile. And so does Lai Xiukui, who throws out an honor. There's no need for Peng Chunlong to keep the unmatched white dragon. Zhao Jian draws a 4 character, seems no need to hold the red and green dragons. But he decides to keep them to form pairs. Suzuki draws a 6 character ready to form 2 identical sequences in 5, 6, 7 characters worth 10 points. Peng Chunlong has drawn a good tile, he could discard the terminal tile 1 bamboo. Zhao Jian draws a 2 dot, his chances at 1, 2, 3, 3 similar sequences has just got better. He is discarding the red dragon, an identical tile discarded previously. Suzuki has drawn a good tile, he's getting rid of useless honor tiles. Peng Chunlong takes in an 8 character. He may discard the 1 dot. While he tries to form 9 tiles straight and discarding the middle tile, 4 bamboo, does he want to form a sequence with his 7 bamboo? Zhao Jian draws a tile to make a green dragon pair, now he can discard a 6 dot or 6 bamboo. Lai Xiukui pwned the 6 bamboo from Zhao, then he may discard the isolated 1 bamboo. Unexpectedly, he discards a 7 character. Suzuki will not claim it for a pong, giving him neither all sequences nor 2 identical sequences in 5, 6, 7 characters. Peng Chunlong draws a 2 dot with a 9 tile straight skeleton and dots taking shape. He discards a 7 bamboo and then is only 1 tile from calling. Peng Chunlong now only needs the 3 or 7 dot to have a calling hand. Suzuki has drawn a good tile. He discards the 8 dot. Once again, Lai Xiukui draws a 7 character, but he discards an identical tile earlier. With 1 and 2 bamboos, Zhao Jian chose the 3 bamboo discarded by his upper seed Peng Chunlong. But he needs to break the partial sequence in 1, 2 characters. Suzuki draws a red dragon, which he'll keep somehow, it's just his style. But as the game just started, other players might claim a pong instead of winning on the discard. I guess it's better to let others claim your discard now than winning on it later. Japanese players tend to be more defensive than their Chinese counterparts because the rules of Japanese Mahjong are similar to the World Series of Mahjong's rules, where discarding to let a big hand win is very costly since one has to pay a large portion of the losses. In my opinion, Japanese players will sometimes give up the chance of winning than to let an opponent win on their discard. Lai Xiukui draws an 8 bamboo to create a pair, possibly trying to complete an all triplets. Zhao Jian claims a green dragon for a pong. He'll be calling after discarding the 2 character. He's calling for a 1 or 4 dot. With a 1 dot, he'll be winning on a 3 similar sequences hand in 1, 2, 3 numbers. With a 4 dot, he'll be winning in a green dragon triplet with 10 points. Not bad at all. He's the first to have a calling hand, and there are no 1 dots in discards. We assume that there are 4 1 dots available. Peng Chunlong discards the 8 character first, holding the green dragon for defense as a safe discard. Suzuki draws a 5 bamboo, becoming second in calling. He's calling for a middle tile 6 character. Discards the 8 bamboo. But his next player holds a 9 dot, which means there is one last 9 dot in the wall. As for the 4 character, Zhao Jin keeps 2 of them as the eyes. Lai Xiuke has a slim chance of winning as he can only win from one lone outstanding 9 dot. Suzuki is calling for a 6 character way down in the wall. Peng Zhenglong draws a good tile, a 7 dot. Edge tile 3 dot, just 1 tile away from 9 tiles straight that scores 40 points, and it's a concealed hand too, it's hard for the other players to detect. There are 2 more 3 dots in the wall. He draws a 1 dot. Will he discard it? If he does, he will let his opponent win a big hand on a discard with 3 similar sequences worth 35 points plus 1 green dragon triplet with 10 points. Suzuki is considering to discard the 1 dot or not, as he has a ready hand too. He knows that 1 dot has never appeared before in his discard, but it's inevitable that he will have to let other players win on his discard. Whether he discards the 1 or 4 dot, someone else will win, and if he throws the 4 dot, he will lose fewer points. And he discards the 1 dot claimed by Zhao Jin to win on 3 similar sequences in 1, 2, 3 numbers plus 1 green dragon triplet. Congratulations to Zhao Jin, who wins on a hand worth 80k Hong Kong dollars. Zhao Jin had an exposed 1, 2, 3 true sequence. Suzuki should have discarded the 4 dot to prevent his opponent from winning on a bigger hand.
We will be back with more with the World Series of Mahjong right after this break. Welcome back to the 4th World Series of Mahjong in Macau, featuring an international field of the best Mahjong players in the world competing in the grand final of the main event for the coveted title of World Champion.
We're now starting the 4th hand in the 3rd round in the 4th World Series of Mahjong Grand Final. This is Lai Xiuke from Hong Kong. He starts the hand by discarding an honor tile. A south wind, while opponents are sorting their tiles. In his hand, Japanese player Taro Suzuki has a pair of north wind as the eyes. He could throw the east or west wind, but he likes to keep them as a safe discard so he could get rid of it and isolate 1 character first. In the grand final, until this moment, Suzuki has never won a hand, so he's feeling the pressure. 3 pairs and he should work towards an all triplets. It's easier to form pairs with terminal tiles, but keeping numbered tiles might be helpful, so he's thinking how to shape the hand. He chooses to discard an honor, keeping their grouping of numbers. Zhao Jin claims a 1 bamboo for a pawn playing towards an all triplets. He entered the grand final as top 1 player with highest scores, therefore all 3 opponents play more defensively against him. Peng Zhenglong did not retain his first red dragon in the last turn. Now he goes on to discard the second one just drawn. He may form an all-sequence hand. At the same time, Suzuki only has a chance towards all sequences, so he surely will discard redundant honors. Zhao Jin picks a 4 dot now with a better chance for all triplets, but he has to decide which to discard. He throws an 8 character. Peng Zhenglong has discarded 3 red dragons in a row, looking quite frustrated. Why didn't he keep the dragons for a little longer? In the World Series of Mahjong, if a player has a dragon after distribution of tiles, he usually keep it for a while, for once he can claim it for a pong, or with a pair formed, he can win 10 points with dragon triplet. Peng Zhenglong has to break his pair of Southwind and 9 characters sooner or later, or he'll end up with a chicken hand. Lai Xiuke is still waiting for good tiles to advance his 9 tiles straight hand. Suzuki draws a 2 dot, discarding it right away as it's not very useful. Zhao Zhen still waits for a needed pair from the wall to make an all-triplet hand. With the 4 character just drawn, Peng Chunlong can try to create 4, 5, 6, 3 similar sequences, and after throwing 1 dot just now, in this turn, he should discard the 9 dot. Lai Xiuke has waited long for needed tiles to complete a 9-tile straight hand in dots. Will he change his strategy by breaking his dot set? No, he discards a 1 character still working on 9 tiles straight and dots. That is a sequence from number 1 through 9, all in 1 suit. It's a big hand with 40 points. At this moment, after taking in a 2 dot, Zhao Zhen is 1 tile away from calling. Peng Chunlong collects and discards a character. And breaking the 8-9 character partial sequence. If I were him, I would throw the 9 character. Xiuke claims the 8 character for a true with 6-7. He is 1 tile away from calling, waiting for a 5 or an 8 dot. Suzuki discards a 9 character and Peng Chunlong pong it. Now Peng is 1 tile away from calling hand with the possibility of a 4, 5, 6, 3 similar sequences. The 5 and 8 dots needed by Lai Xiuke has only appeared once, so he still has a chance. Suzuki takes a white dragon, discards it after a little thinking. He always ponders before throwing any dragon. It's better for Zhao Zhen if he could draw to form another pair. Lai Xiuke keeps drawing 7 character. Suzuki takes in a 7 bamboo to form a pair. Will he break the north wind meld? After a look at his discards, he breaks it. Now he collects a 6 bamboo, continuing to discard the north wind. Zhao Zhen should not have thrown his west wind. In this hand, amazingly, Peng Chunlong has drawn 4 red dragons altogether. It's quite rare, but that happens to him. He does not throw the red dragon, wanting to keep it as a safe discard for defense. He discards a 2 character. Suzuki keeps drawing bamboos and is now calling. His end is nice, calling for a 5 or 8 bamboo to have a win on a concealed all sequences. Then throws a 5 character claimed by Peng Chunlong for a true with 4 and 6. Peng then discards the red dragon, forming a ready hand, calling for 3 similar sequences in 4, 5, 6 character dot and bamboo. If he wins, the hand has a value of 60k Hong Kong dollars. But with Suzuki and Zhao Zhen each holding 2 6 bamboo tiles, he can't get any 6 bamboo for the win. That's why I say Peng Chunlong should have kept the 8 character without ponging the 9 character from Suzuki. Because if a 3 bamboo comes by, he should still be able to win on all sequences, if not the aimed 3 similar sequences. Suzuki draws a 1 bamboo. Now should he call for 4 or 7 bamboo or 5 or 8 bamboo? He should go for a higher probability of 5 or 8 bamboo. Zhao Zhen finally forms a 2 dot pair, which is why he discarded 3 and 5 character a bit earlier. He won't be getting the 6 bamboo for the win since Suzuki has them, and Lai Xiuke and Peng Chunlong each hold a 4 dot. Lai Xiuke draws a 5 dot. He makes a ready handicap, calling for an 8 dot for a 9 tile straight. There are still 3 8 dots in the wall and wanted by the other 3 players, so Lai has a very high chance of winning. He looks quite tense, exposing some tiles by accident. Players may have slippery hands from sweating. Alright, Zhao Zhen draws a 3 bamboo to form a pair. We worry again about him. If he discards 6 bamboo, an opponent will win, and thank God he throws a 2 dot. Chunlong draws an 8 dot and for sure he'll discard it. He does, and discards enables Lai Xiuke to win on a 9 tile straight, quite a big hand. 9 tile straight is worth 40 points, plus 5 points from all sequences. The hand scores total 45 points. Hence the winner wins total 135 points from 3 losers, worth 80k Hong Kong dollars. Peng Chunlong can't maintain his advantage from previous wins. We can only say that Zhao Zhen is lucky to have avoided a big loss by not discarding the 6 bamboo.
We will be back with more with the World Series of Mahjong right after this break. Welcome back to the 4th World Series of Mahjong in Macau, featuring an international field of the best Mahjong players in the world competing in the grand final of the main event for the coveted title of World Champion.
We're now starting at the third hand game in the 4th round in the 4th World Series of Mahjong Grand Final. This is the last hand before the closing game. The top 4 players in Grand Final include Zhao Jian from China, Lai Xiuke from Hong Kong, Peng Chonglong from Taiwan, and Taro Suzuki from Japan. This is Hong Kong player Lai Xiuke. Let's take a look at his hand. He can 8, 4, 7, 8, 9, 3 similar sequences. Now in the last stage, all players are very, very careful. They would rather give up their hands than to let opponent win on their discard. With more character and honor tiles in hand, Peng Chonglong can consider making a mixed one-suit hand. Zhao Jian should first get rid of the end-match honors. Suzuki needs a neighbor for his 5 bamboo. Peng Chonglong has a chance towards the 9 tile straightened characters. Suzuki will discard his honors first. Having a total of 10 terminals and honors, Lai Xiuke may work towards 13 terminals, but it's rather difficult to make, yet since it's a big hand score of 160 points, Lai still wants to make 13 terminals. Peng Chonglong is waiting for 2 and 8 characters to complete his 9 tiles straight. Zhao Jian's yet to deal with all his honors. His hand looks like a mere all sequences hand. Dragon to form a pair with which, if he claims a Peng, he would get a 10 points. Lai Xiuke is really working on a 13 terminal hand. He still needs 4 tiles, the 1 character, 1 bamboo, south wind, and red dragon. Zhao Jian also has a red dragon, and considering Suzuki has discarded 1, there's only 1 last available. Zhao Jian's hand now can go for a bamboo's mixed one suit. So far, Suzuki hasn't formed a bamboo meld. And now Lai Xiuke is 3 tiles from calling for a 13 terminal hand. Luck is with Peng Chonglong. He has drawn good tiles to form partial sets and the eyes, and has 2 tiles from calling. Zhao Jian wants to play safe by forming a sequence hand or Peng the green dragon. Lai Xiuke only wishes to draw as soon as possible on a red dragon, or takes in 1 bamboo, 1 character, or south wind before the 4th red dragon appears. Otherwise, he won't have a chance to win the hand. After Chi, the 8 character with 7 and 9, Peng Chonglong is 1 tile from calling. Suzuki draws a 1 bamboo. Is he thinking hard to make a not 1, 2, 3 similar sequences? He is. He throws a 5 bamboo. Looks like he's taking risks to switch to make a bigger hand. Lai Xiuke has not drawn needed tiles to complete his 13 terminals. The hand is very difficult to achieve. That's why it's so high scoring. Suzuki collects a tile to form a partial 1, 2, 3 sequence. Now he can throw the redundant 2 characters. Up till now in the grand final, China's player Zhao Jian ranks number 1, followed by Lai Xiuke from Hong Kong and Peng Chonglong from Taiwan. Japanese player Taro Suzuki is in the 4th place. Suzuki to Zhao Jian's 9 bamboo with 7, 8 bamboos, and discarded at 6 character, and is now 1 tile away from calling. The audience wants very much to see big hands in the grand final. But Lai Xiuke's 13 terminals in dear need of the last available red dragon. He's still 3 tiles away from calling. It's indeed not easy for him, only if miracle happens. He draws a 4-dot. Wanting to make a 9-tile straight going for a higher scoring hand. After all, this is his last chance before the closing game. Only a big hand can let him recover his previous losses. And Lai Siu-Koi finally draws a south wind, good for him. Now he's 2 tiles from the 13 terminal calling hand. Zhao Jun gives up on forming a mixed 1 suit hand in bamboo. Lai Siu-Koi is still 2 tiles away from calling for 13 terminals. What he needs are a 1 bamboo and 1 character and a red dragon. While also is 1 tile away from calling, he only needs a 2 or a 3 or a 5 bamboo or a south wind. Suzuki draws a 6-dot, becoming the first player calling for a 9-tile straight hand, earning 40 points. It's quite nice. And somebody wins. Winning is Japanese player Taro Suzuki, who called first. He won on a discard from Lai Siu-Koi, his lower seed, who has been aiming for 13 terminals. What a pity for Lai's 13 terminal. The hand could not be completed. Suzuki wins a 9-tile straight and dots plus in all sequences. He thus wins a lot of points in his hand to make up for his heavy losses in previous hands. We now return to the 4th hand in the 4th round of the 4th World Series of Mahjong Grand Final. This is the very last game. The champion of the 4th World Mahjong Series will be decided upon closing of this game, but as long as the game is not over, anything is possible. We can expect the 4 players bringing us an exciting game. This is Peng Chunlong from Taiwan. His hand has the possibility towards 3 similar sequences consisting of 1, 2, 3 bamboo characters and dots, or even a bamboo 9-tile straight. Zhao Jun from China should discard honors first. He's in the lead so far, so all he needs is to call and win as early as possible to finish the game rapidly. Japanese player Suzuki won a 9-tile straight in last hand, thus greatly cutting deficit in score. Let's see if he can turn the tables around. Lai Siu-Koi from Hong Kong can try to make an all-triplet hand with his 3 pairs. Peng Chunlong has too many honors, but I guess he won't play towards the very demanding 13 terminals. By discarding a 5 bamboo, he may be trying for a pure lesser terminals plus a 3 similar sequences. Zhao Jian draws a green dragon forming a pair. Lai Siu-Koi pong a west wind advancing towards an all-triplet hand. But then he breaks a 1 character pair. I don't get that. Suzuki now has a chance towards an all sequences. Why did Lai Siu-Koi break the 1 character pair? What's on his mind? Peng Chunlong is not drawing any useful tiles. Now, Zhao Jian has 1 more pair of red dragon. Very nice. Suzuki has drawn a neighbor for his 5-dot. Then he may work on a 3 similar sequences in numbers 3, 4, 5, or 4, 5, 6. Zhao Jian pong a red dragon forming a triplet worth 10 points. He also breaks a 7-dot pair, keeping a sequence of 5 characters, which is highly versatile and claiming for a pong, a 9-dot discarded by Suzuki. Zhao Jian now becomes the first player calling. He's very fast. He's the first with a ready hand, only after 4 turns calling for a 4 or 7 character. Now Suzuki takes in a 4 character useless to him. He may discard it. And he does discard it for Zhao Jian to win. The last hand of the grand final was played at the fast pace and it's over while we want more. Zhao Jian merely won on Suzuki's discard and there's nothing he could do.
Besides receiving a significant cash prize, the World Series of Mahjong champion also wins the coveted golden Mahjong necklace. A great finish to the grand final here in Macau. Let's have a look at the top 4 final scores and total prize payouts to see who will be the 2015 World Series of Mahjong champion. In first place is Zhao Jian from China with a positive score of 210 points and an accumulated total prize payout of 406,161 Hong Kong dollars. Zhao's followed by Taro Suzuki from Japan. Suzuki takes home an accumulated prize payout valued at over 293,000 Hong Kong dollars. Ranked third is Lai Siu Kuei from Hong Kong with a negative score of -70 points, with Peng Chung Lung finished in fourth place. But the big moment of glory goes to the new World Series of Mahjong champion for 2015, Zhao Jian, awarded his prize along with the golden Mahjong necklace.
最后一局，我认为可能从一开始来讲，我的运气就比较好，然后我盯得比较紧一点，尽量胡小胡，对，然后有机会胡了一把大胡，就是这样领先了。可能领先以后的心态放松多了。这个麻将比赛有200多个人，来自这个不同国家的好多选手，我相信他们在自己的国家都是精英选手，所以说你说我们比他们的水平高多少？我认为可能不会，更重要的是运气。
That brings us to the end of the 4th World Series of Mahjong Championship, featuring some of the world's top Mahjong players. The World Series of Mahjong uses the world's leading standardized version of Mahjong rules and is now the most recognized international Mahjong tournament. Mahjong remains an increasingly popular game of strategy and skill. So play to enjoy, and be sure to